I've got 2 guns, one for each of you. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. We're going to talk about the 5 most important, bestest squads in the whole game today, folks. And, we only have one Galactic Legend on the list, and it's going to be fun. I mean, it's kind of hyperbole, right? Like, of course it is. Of course. However, I do want to talk about these squads because it's like, well, yeah, there's some really good things about about a lot of squads. Frankly, you get to find use in a ton of different things. I mean, that's why the game is continuing on. They've done a really good job of balancing that out and making old squads relevant. But these 5 squads, and I've actually just got 2 bonus ones as well, just kind of just honorable mentions that I want to discuss about as well. Have you ever discussed about something, folks? That we're discussing about it now. It's quite impressive, but I do want to talk about them. We've only got one Galactic Legend in this batch because Galactic Legends are obviously important, right? Like you're not just going to be like, oh wow, they didn't make the top 5 of Xerath's list. I guess they're not good. Like, of course they are, and it would be so stupid, just the dumbest ever, to have a top 5 squads in the game where it's just like 5 of the 7 Galactic Legends. Like, just go get your Galactic Legends, folks. Go watch my video on which one you should farm first. I think that's probably a relevant topic. But this is just discussing 5 squads that I think you should absolutely be looking at and putting in your plan to try to get farmed as quickly as possible. So without further ado, let's look at the blank screen for a minute. Wow. Whoa, we're in the game suddenly. For a minute we were in a blank screen and now we're in the game. This is madness. This is just not okay, probably. Probably I'll die in several years. So we've got the first one. This is the aforementioned Galactic Legend, and I mean it's probably just not surprising to you that the latest Galactic Legend is one of the most important Galactic Legends or squads in the game. There are so many reasons though, guys. Like, the way I'm judging the criteria for this it's mostly just arbitrary. It's like, oh, this squad's pretty cool, let's just throw it in the basket. But it's also there are a lot of reasons. Like, there's applicability across several different fronts. Not to mention, some of them are going to just be like, well, you should just pick this up because it's low investment, etc. Consistently good. It's this blah blah blah. You'll see. Blah blah blah. I'm going to be blah blah blahing this entire video in case you had not realized. So, Jabba, however, he has multitudinal uses. There's like right now, he's amazing in PvP. He'll destroy lots of squads. You just keep throwing relics on the squad, and it keeps doing better and better. And I don't think that's going to change when the latest Datacron set falls off. Like, I think maybe there'll be more and more squads that can hope to counter it. But it is really strong in PvP, on GAC, and in Territory Wars. Just the gift that keeps giving. And then territory battles, it's required on every single phase. Like, you can't get into those missions without Jabba, and so every guild is eventually going to want 50 Jabba squads, and you're all gonna want to be Relic 9. And here's the thing, I don't even mind. Like, my alt is gonna be putting Relic 9 on a lot of these characters because the squad is so overpowered when you put extra relic levels on it. So you're incentivized to do that on several fronts. Your guild is going to love you if you have a fully Relic 9 Jabba eventually. You don't need it right now, not yet, but it is very strong, folks. And so that's good. And then you also have the really cool, I forget what it's called now, Smuggler's Run 2 fight, where you get a ton of mod slicing materials that you just wouldn't otherwise get if you don't have Jabba. So it's like, get this squad now if possible, guys. It's amazing on several different fronts. It's also great in Conquest to get those annoying, like, hey, try to get a win without any force sensitive, force user, force abusers, whatever. It's a very, very, very good squad, folks. Alright, next we have the Inquisition, and this one's a little more narrow, but I mean, it's good in PvP on several different levels. We're going to have Riva pretty soon. Well, not pretty soon, because CG is probably going to nerf the mission, but one way or another. CG has, whether or not you're engaged by this squad, I know a lot of people aren't. I'm not really. I don't care about these random face mask wearing weirdos with chin horns and chopper, like, helicopters, lightsabers. Like, I just don't care. I don't really care at all. But CG has mandated that this squad is going to be good, whether we like it or not, and they've set out, ever since they came out with Datacrons, they've had some way to support Inquisitors in a pretty dramatic way, making the squad way better than it normally would be, and that's probably not going to change once we have Riva. Riva is crazy strong, at least on paper. We haven't really been able to see gameplay from her, but she does a lot of really cool stuff, and even without her though, this whole squad is good, and you need this squad to unlock Riva shards, and even once you're done with Riva shards, once you finally unlocked her, you're going to need the whole squad at Relic 8 to be able to help your team, your guild, with GT3. Because that's going to be worth more. If your whole guild can get enough GET3 from the Relic 8 mission on whatever planet it is on the next day, on Haven, I think. If you can do that, then it's going to be worth more than like 7 or 8 stars. So, like, it's very worthwhile. If your whole guild does that, then not only will you have a really potent PvP squad in Territory Wars and GAC, you'll also have something really good in territory battles. So it touches both sides. I know that it's investment heavy. I know that it's not necessarily fun or engaging. I know that the Grand Inquisitor does not necessarily look Utapowan, but we need to move right along. Now, Imperial Troopers are kind of an odd one because they're one that it's like, okay, they're not great at PvE, frankly. Like, a lot of times PvE, it does artificial, like, it makes things more difficult by artificially increasing speed on a squad. And it's like, well, troopers are really fast, but unless you have Datacrons to help, or unless you have some other thing, eventually you're just going to get outsped, and there's limited use once that happens. However, I will say that for the level of investment on Imperial Troopers, they're the gift that keeps giving. Like, they keep killing several different Galactic Legends. They've had a lot of different ways to apply various Datacrons now, and they're able to do a whole lot with a whole lot less than most other squads. I mean, you don't even need all the Zetas that I'm showing, and that they're like, you need the one on Veers, you need the 2 on Piet, like, you don't even need the second one on Piet, really. Dark Trooper's nice, Stark is nice, but it's so cheap. This squad is so easy to get. You don't need Omicrons, and it's killing Lord Vader, it's killing Jedi Master Luke. Anything that allows you to have turn meter gain, it's just wrecking. It's super nice, and I mean, it stayed relevant since PvP was around. I remember killing like bounty hunter teams back in the day with the squad even before Piet and Dark Trooper were here. They've just been really strong, and frankly, I mean, is it the very best squad in the game? Not really, but I think for its investment level, it truly is one of the best. Not to mention, you need all of these characters for various things, except for Range Trooper, but he's super cheap to not only to farm, he's like on an 8 node, but he's also pretty easy to gear as well. Dark Trooper, I guess, is also not required, but man, he's like borderline required just because of how truck-like he hits. Now, this one I'm kind of cheating on, in a way. Bounty Hunters, I've always said that they're like the foundation squad or whatever, like faction of the game. And CG is really, they're like, alright guys, basically you need to farm and use every single character here as a requirement. I don't think that there's a Bounty Hunter now that isn't a requirement for something, somewhere. It's just a really good faction at this point, like, and you need them for, You need them for everything. Like they're just pervasive guys. They just keep getting love, and you know they're on the Jabba squad. They're on the profundity requirements. They're on the executor requirements. In fact, executor is a bounty hunter fleet. In fact, with Piet at the helm apparently, but they just they also find their way into the meta so often, guys. Like they find their way to take out some really impressive squads. They're just very versatile and a lot of fun. They're, I don't know if iconic is quite the right word, but they're also like somewhat low investment as well, just in the sense that you don't really need Omicrons for them. You know, like you need the one on Zam. I think that, you know, and then maybe like Dad Bod Boba, it maybe wants one or two, but otherwise it's a squad that you should be looking at, especially the core one at the top here, guys. Aura Singh, Bosk, Grief, Mando, and Zam. They're pretty good. They don't suck. So, you know, killing the meta, and they're fairly cheap. They're just the bedrock of this whole game, frankly. All right, Star Killer, guys, is a squad. I just put a bunch of random, like, this could be a Star Killer squad. I'm not saying it's great, but Star Killer is amazing in, now he's amazing in Territory Wars with Juhani, and, like, you can just mix and match the squad so much. And the thing is, he requires a Jedi, a Sith, and then a Lasufu and a Dusufu, light side, unaligned Force user, etc. And the awesome thing about that is just that they're going to keep releasing Jedi, and they're going to keep releasing unaligned Force users, and they're going to keep releasing Sith. That he's going to stay relevant and current for a really long time. Not to mention, he's already killing several different galactic legends. He's doing a lot of really cool stuff. In both of those modes, he's actually pretty relevant in PvE as well, though. I mean, like, now that we can have a mixed zone, he's really good in PvE, actually, if you want to get all those characters up to the right relic levels and everything. But, I mean, he stayed super relevant, he stayed really strong, and I think he, just by the nature of the things that they release in this game, he's going to stay current and relevant and awesome. Obviously, this isn't a squad that I would necessarily condone. It would be interesting to watch, because they all do kind of play off of each other on some way, but yeah, it's not like an amazing squad. It's pretty cool though. So I mean, those are probably the 5 top, and then honorable mentions. We do have Lord Vader as an honorable mention, just because he's required at, like, there's Empire required for a lot of the territory battle stuff. He is really strong. Now that Datacrons have been released, all the Lord Failure nonsense people have been spouting has mostly been silenced, unless they're willfully ignorant, in which case don't talk to them, just find a sharp no, don't do that. But do consider investing in Lord Vader, even though he only had about 2 hours of life, at all in the whole galaxy before he was amputated and had all 3 of his legs cut off, if you know what I mean. But he is it's a really good team. Obviously, like, just gets a ton of defensive holds, gets a ton of offensive kills, and is relevant in all the different game modes. Can be used with a lot of different teams, and I mean, probably the second best GL at this point now that Datacrons are here to give us stats. And then finally, we do have the Commander Luke team. This team has just been relevant for so long, and every time it was like kind of getting behind, then CG added a new character. And I just think that this squad is so basic and fundamental to the game. Like, it's a lot of fun, and Han always shoots first. So if you ever need someone to be able to get that Alpha Strike, you're like, man, I preloaded, I don't know what to do, I'm panicking, I don't know what, like, I need to stun someone before. Like, Han is just so plug and play. He can work on any team, but this team, you know, gets so much turn meter. It's a lot of fun, and you know, it's very, very relevant in both PvE and PvP, because you get so much turn meter. As long as they don't make something that shuts down turn meter, like, super pervasive, you know, they have a couple squads like that right now, but as long as they don't make that like the norm, this team is going to have legs. So anyways, what are some teams that you think are important, folks? What teams did I miss that aren't in the top 5? Don't say a galactic legend. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.